and you saw all the commercials from yesterday. So what were your favorite? Which ones hit it out of the park and which ones just didn't make an impact for you? We'll be talking all about it coming up next here on Live Now from Fox. Welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us here as always. Well, the build-up, the excitement of the Super Bowl, it came and went. And now we are not only talking about the game and about what people ate, but how they enjoyed the commercials and did they make a impact there for consumers. So let's talk all about them. Bring in our guest here on Live Now from Fox, and marketing strategist Sheila Rondeau. Thank you again for joining us on Live Now from Fox.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, so let's get right into it. First off, I want to get your take. How did you like the commercials? Which ones really stuck out with you?
Overall, I liked the commercials. We didn't have any faraway winners, but I liked the Beyonce commercial. Not only was it entertaining and engaging, but it also was completely on brand. It continually brought you back to why they were there. They were advertising, and it caught the right message. The other one I really liked was Dunkin's. Dunkin's did it in a great, fun, tongue-in-cheek way, which is truly authentic to the brand. And what a powerhouse of people.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Dunkin' one, because that was my favorite of the night. Where you got Ben Affleck, J-Lo, Tom Brady, Matt Damon, they're all in there. And it was just a really memorable moment, and one that you're laughing really the whole time during it, especially when they cut there to Tom Brady and he's playing DJ.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. And that was what most of our commercials last night were. You saw lots of commercials, and it was really focused about the humor. A lot of surprise and delight, very lighthearted and fun. And then there were a couple that were a little closer to the heartstrings, and those were done nicely as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I thought there would be more that would be tugging at the heartstrings, but there was only a few. In previous Super Bowls, it seemed like it would be heavy on the funny and then heavy on the really sentimental ones. But for this one, for this Super Bowl, it seemed like the commercials were just loaded with celebrities and really trying to make the fun aspect out of it. But there wasn't really those ones that really made it memorable or made it really that you wanted to cry during it.
No, there were only a couple of those, and not even that strong. Not cry to. The Google Pixar Pixel was done very nicely. The whole representation of someone who couldn't see well being able to take beautiful photos, that was handled very nicely. The Clydesdales, as always, they came out and just gave you that nostalgia that felt good and brought you back to good years.
For marketing companies, how much of when they get a client there that wants to do a Super Bowl commercial, how much planning goes into it for a 30-second spot? And maybe if you can give us a glimpse of that, whatever it takes to get into the commercial itself.
It takes all year. This is not only the Super Bowl, but the commercials are their Super Bowl as well. And they are rated by what they deliver for this. And for the next handful of months, you will see a lot of these spots, either in the same current cut or a different version of them that you'll see over and over again. They invest so much that it starts with, what is authentic to the brand? What is the core message? And then from that, how do you portray it? Is it funny? Is it heartstrings? And then who are the right people to deliver that message? And as you go through that process with the storyboards and then going into production, it really is a huge amount of work, and it takes all year.
Yeah, that's so true. And Super Bowl has to be the one event where not only are you watching the main event there, the game, but the commercials are really the second reason that a lot of people don't want to go out and watch a game. They want to watch it at home because you get to have the full experience of the commercials there. And how has this all happened where you take such a big product, an entertainment product like the Super Bowl, and combine it with commercials that not only, that's the one aspect where you're watching something and you don't mind that it's going to break. You're like, okay, more commercials are coming.
It has completely changed how they do commercials. When you think about football, typically you have a set demographic that you cater to. But for the Super Bowl, that isn't true. It is such a raw base of demographic that you're going to get the Swifties all the way into the hardcore football fans and everyone in between. And there are people who just show up for the commercials.
That's so true. And we've seen a deep change in the commercials and really maybe the theme of the commercials. If we go back to the 90s and early 2000s, there was a sexiness to the commercials. And now that is pretty much wiped out. And it seems like the big focus now is the humor aspect.
It is. But also look at the times that we're in. Brands have decided that they're going to play it safer. And in doing that, they went with humor. And none of the humor was too far any one direction. It wasn't by any means insulting. It wasn't something that you really had to spend a lot of time thinking about. It was just there, and they got the laughs and they moved on.
Yeah, that's so true. And for a brand, given that the world that we live in right now and that you want to try to please everybody as well, but if a brand was to put out a Super Bowl commercial that was a little bit edgier, maybe taking us back to the 90s or early 2000s, they would be talked about, probably endless of the Monday after. Would that hurt them in the long run, or would it give them an even bigger pop on the days after the Super Bowl?
It really depends if they delivered. Again, it always goes back to authenticity. If it is authentic to the brand, it feels right, it is who they are and their core values, and the message is on, it usually resonates really well. When they push a point that they don't have the space to play in, it usually falls flat.
That's so true. And yeah, so who knows? They're probably already planning for Super Bowl 59 right now, some of the top brands there, and trying to decide what they want to do. And when they look back, how do they measure people? I could just imagine social media playing a big part on how these brands look at how their message delivered.
It is. Last night during the game itself, I was going through social media to see what the responses were, not only to the commercials, but to the halftime show, to the game overall, to the commentators. And we learned so much through social media of what people really feel, and when they're physically in the moment, how they're digesting it. And that's huge for advertisers.
Yeah, it really is. And Sheila, thanks so much for coming on and giving us a breakdown of what we saw and what we all thought about the commercials that were for Super Bowl 58. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You take care.